Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel all about English literature. In today's video we are going to discuss our next literary element, which is setting. Setting. The setting of a piece of literature is the time and place in which the story takes place. The definition of setting can also include social statuses, weather, historical period, and details about immediate surroundings. Settings can be real or fictional or a combination of both real and fictional elements. Some settings are very specific while others are descriptive. Most pieces of literature include more or many more than one setting, either as the narrative progresses through time or to include points of view from more than one character. हर एक इंसानी वजूद ये एक खास जगह और वक्त से जुड़ा हुआ है। इसीलिए इंसानी ज़िंदगी की अलग अलग हकीकतों से रूबरू होते वक्त इस पहलू को नज़रअंदाज नहीं किया जा सकता। यही वजह है कि कहानी के किरदार भी एक खास वक्त और एक खास जगह से जुड़े हुए होते हैं। Key details about setting. Setting is where and when a story or scene takes place. The where can be a real place like the city of London, or it can be an imagined location like Westeros in Game of Thrones. Similarly, the when can be a real time period, past or present, or imagined one like future. Other aspects that determine a setting include landscape, architecture, time of day, social context, and weather. For example, the setting of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is the upper middle class countryside of 19th century England, while the setting of Edward Albee's The Zoo Story is a park bench in New York's Central Park. Far from being just a backdrop for the story, the setting of a piece of literature often shapes the story's main events and motivates the characters to act as they do. Many works of literature have multiple settings, whether that means moving between the interior and exterior of the same house, different countries, or different centuries. It is important to note how plot developments and character developments correspond to changes in the setting. Significance of setting. Setting is an extremely important aspect of almost every piece of fiction and drama and can be an important element in poetry as well. In many narrative examples, the setting can act almost as a non-human character, affecting the characters in many different ways. Indeed, most plot lines are so tied to their settings that they could not be put in other places, time periods, or socio-economic environments. Setting is an essential component of literature, and it's one of the first things a writer considers when he or she invents a story. It not only influences a story's characters and events, but also enhances the reader's ability to imagine those characters and events. In other words, setting the scene lets the reader know what type of literary world he or she is entering, so that he or she can get grounded and experience it more fully. Aspects of setting. First aspect, the physical location. The physical realities of where the story takes place, including geography, landscape, and other factors. For example, urban or rural, domestic or wild, inside or out, on earth or in space, etc. Second aspect, time. When does the story take place? In the past, the future, or the present? What are the particular details of that time? Third aspect, the social milieu. Setting is not just about the physical aspects, it also about the social world. Is the setting wealthy or poor, homogeneous or diverse? Are things improving or getting worse? Fourth, change. Setting can also be affected by how it changes, either over time, the changing seasons, or the construction of a house or town or city, or suddenly a terrible storm. The changes that do or don't affect a setting are as important as the setting itself. Setting can be analyzed in many different ways. First, the setting as mirror. The setting may mirror a prevailing mood. It may signal or reinforce prevailing emotions. An arid landscape, for instance, may mirror despair or spiritual dissolution. Barren hills, scrubby vegetation, and dusty dirt roads may provide a fitting setting for emotionally dried up characters. However, you cannot always expect a direct connection between the setting and the people who play their roles in it. The setting may also be ironic, as when a character feels depressed in a springtime setting. Our sense of irony makes us respond with a grim smile when things do not turn out the way we would like to be expect. Second point, the setting as mold. The setting of a story often shapes characters. It helps make people what they are. Someone growing up on a farm with its chores, dependence on rain and sun, and closeness to living things is likely to have a different outlook, a different definition of life than someone growing up in a neighborhood where the only open spaces are parking lots. A story may show its characters as creatures of its setting, reflecting its mood, living out its approved ways of acting and thinking. Characters may find themselves trapped in a spiritual wasteland of suburbia or in a small decaying town that becomes for them the graveyard of hope. On the other hand, a story may show a character rebelling against a stifling environment, struggling to break free. Third point, the setting as escape. Escape literature takes us to imaginary settings where we act out daydreams. The story may take us to a mansion in the pre-Civil War South to make us witness scenes of flaming passions. It may take us to ancient Rome to appall us with scenes of treachery and depravity. However, far away, setting may not really provide an escape. It may be the destination of a journey of discovery. In a strange setting, we may encounter facets of our own personality denied an outlet in our ordinary world. Last one, the alien setting. Much modern literature circles back to the loss of roots, the loss of home. You may find yourself in a setting that is inhospitable, like an alien planet. You may identify with the exile, the undesirable, the refugee. In much early 20th century fiction, you encounter the eternal tourist, the expatriate, the person in exile from his or her own country. In the fiction of Franz Kafka, you find yourself in a nightmare setting, as in a bad dream. You may struggle with an environment that defies your best efforts to get control of the situation, to understand what is going on. तो ये था सेटिंग इस लिटरेरी एलिमेंट का आसान एक्सप्लेनेशन. अगर आपको ये एक्सप्लेनेशन पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर ज़रूर करें. और हाँ, हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना न भूलें. अगली वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करेंगे थीम इस लिटरेरी एलिमेंट के बारे में. टिल देन, कीप लर्निंग, कीप थिंकिंग. थैंक यू.